All right, guys, it's Jahlon, and as you know, I stream on Twitch 3 days a week, usually Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. I am a content creator. I used to be a YouTuber. I'm just having a lot more fun on Twitch. Right now, the lull going on, I don't make a lot of YouTube videos. But today I'm making a YouTube video because on my Twitch, I have a 50,000 channel reward point for basically a viewer to get their own custom segment made. And somebody redeemed one yesterday and they said, TitanReach becomes the newest Kickstarter scam. Honestly, when will people learn that we have a voice with our dollar? Stop supporting these projects. Absolutely. If you haven't been familiar with TitanReach, we're going to talk about a few things today. TitanReach is basically blown up to be a big scam. The owner of the company seems to have lied, maybe pocketed some money. A lot of things he said didn't make sense. But I do want to go back to the part where the viewer asked me, TitanReach becomes the newest Kickstarter scam. And this is just absolutely incorrect. TitanReach didn't achieve its Kickstarter goal. If you look here, it raised $133,331 out of the $421,831 it was aiming for just under 32% of its goal. So for the person who posted the question, the consumers did in fact exercise their voice with their dollar, and the voice they answered with was no. Now, that's not to say that consumers don't fall victim to this all the time. If you remember Dreamworld was only asking for $10,000 to build one of the biggest games in scope that I've ever seen, which turned out to be a different flavor of scam, but today's video isn't on Dreamworld. As you can see here, the developers of TitanReach said, so we cannot refund the money we no longer have, which of course is a problem, because if they had money left, they wouldn't do refunds with it. They would continue to develop to try to hit the launch date, which is why lawsuits against failed companies like the Soulbound Studios Chronicles of Illyria lawsuit are equally pointless. You just sued a broke company. What are you going to get? 100% of zero? So I've seen some people calling for a lawsuit against TitanReach. They pretty much said, we're broke, we're closed. They closed down all their social media. Now, I did find a bunch of lies involving the TitanReach owner. So supposedly he bought a Tesla with some of the investor money. The investor told him to invest in crypto, and somehow he ended up with a huge tax bill. So first and foremost, I don't know who the investor was, but let me just say it like this. I don't know any investor who would say, here's my money, I'm going to give it to you. Now you go invest in crypto because there's money to be made. If there was money to be made in crypto, I would take my money, I would put it in crypto, and then I would give you money to work on your project with. So remember, investors want a return on investment. So I don't believe that doesn't pass the logic test to me. The Tesla is interesting because there's actually two stories about where it came from. One was that the owner got a $50,000 bonus from his job. The other was that he made $80,000 in the crypto market. Either way, one of these two statements is a lie. And if the owner is going to lie about one thing, it's not surprising he lied about something else. I saw him post something. Now, this is all speculation on my part. He doesn't outright say that he has a tax bill due to the US government, but he says that he has a 300,000 USD tax bill. So I'm assuming he means that he owes that to the US government. If he's filing US taxes, and in other posts he says he has a family, he would have made about $990,000 to have that sort of tax bill. Now, of course, this is just speculation. It's nearly impossible to reverse engineer someone's taxes with 100% accuracy, but this should give you at least a ballpark. If he does have a $300,000 US tax bill, he made an awful lot of money. Now, one thing I want to talk about is the problem with Kickstarter. There's a problem with Kickstarter, and that is once a project is funded on Kickstarter, there's a 14-day grace period where Kickstarter is collecting all the money, doing refunds if people are asking for refunds, and Kickstarter issues that refund directly. After that 14-day grace period, they ship your money off to the project backer, and that's it. Your deal with Kickstarter is done. Now, over the years, about the last 8 years, I've heard people say, I'll do a chargeback to Kickstarter. I've never seen a person successfully charge back Kickstarter, because a chargeback has to be based in, I didn't get what I paid for. The problem with Kickstarter backing is you did get exactly what you paid for. You said, I want to give money to this project, and Kickstarter says, we'll do that for you. We'll link you up with that project. And that's the end of Kickstarter's responsibilities. Now, I know that you feel that Kickstarter owes you the product or the deliverable because you paid Kickstarter, but that's not what Kickstarter is. You paid them to link you up with the project manager. Do I agree with this? No, I do not agree with it. I don't think this is how it should work. I think the government of the United States, the Attorney General in New York, should look into Kickstarter as a corporation and say, you're not really doing a good job vetting these projects. Do I think Kickstarter should vet MMORPGs on a separate level than all their other projects? Yes, I do. We know that MMORPGs take millions of dollars. If you remember Chronicles of Valyria, Caspian said, we need $800,000. And then he later said, we were shocked people came to realize we would need more money. Well, Kickstarter's goal in the terms of service says the project backer's goal is how much money they need to bring the project to completion. So when Caspian said that, it was just another example of you're not using the platform appropriately. This is also my big problem with crowdfunding. Crowdfunding takes a lot of the pressure off of the developer, just to talk about MMORPGs. According to TitanReach's developer, a total of $1 million was spent on the game development over the past 2 years, with about $200,000 coming from the community. 20% of the failure came not out of the pockets of the owners or the investors, but in average gamers. Remember, I said earlier in the video, investors want a return on investment. You are not an investor when you use Kickstarter. You are a backer. You are giving money to somebody else's pet project, somebody else's dream. When it's your money on the line, if I'm backing a project of my own creation and it's my money, I do everything in my power to make sure failure is not an option. I am always careful with all the money that comes into my YouTube channel, with my Twitch, with my Patreon. I'm really careful with that money. I'm turning it into music, but I'm not really doing a Kickstarter. I'm not asking people for money to offset this. This is money the company's earned, and I'm trying to turn it into something. I try to figure out a way to make every penny count, and that's what you do when it's your money. When you start spending other people's money, it's easy to be pretty lax with the financial discipline. You might just buy a Tesla. You start spending money on things that you might not have if it was your money. In fact, interestingly enough, running out of cash is the second largest reason for business failure in the United States. 29% of small businesses fail because of cash issues. I also want to share with you some other numbers. In the United States, 20% of small businesses fail after just 1 year. By the end of their 5th year, 50% of small businesses have failed. And at the end of 10 years, 64% of small businesses have failed. Now, this is important to note because an MMORPG takes about 5 to 8 years to develop. And if 50% of small businesses fail at the end of 5 years, that means you're basically flipping a coin when you back something on Kickstarter if it's going to get to launch. So keep that in mind the next time somebody says, hey, this great thing on Kickstarter. Now, with TitanReach, there was also a lot of stuff going on with NFTs and crypto. It feels to me in the late 2021, early 2022, everything is NFTs or crypto or both. Now, there's a ton of money to be made in crypto. I used to speak out against crypto, and I don't want to keep doing that. If you want to have your money be safe, put it into more traditional things. If you need to make a lot of money in a hurry and you want to hustle and you have money to lose, do crypto, but do crypto responsibly. My problem is that NFTs are popping up all over the place, and we've already seen the hoopla happen with the people not understanding NFTs and copyright and what do you have the rights to with the Dune book. People bought a Dune book. They thought it gave them the rights to Dune, the rights to the book. All it did was give them ownership of a very expensive book. We've also seen in the last few days, one of the major NFT marketplaces has said 80% of NFTs are spam, scams, or fraud. Now, call me crazy, but if 80% are scams, spam, and fraud, why are people so gung-ho about NFTs? Because at the end of the day, it's going to be like the GameStop pump and dump. You're going to spend a lot of money on a screenshot, and that screenshot is only worth whatever you can get somebody else to pay you for it. I also think that MMO companies haven't really thought through some of the legalese. Most MMO RPG terms of service have a line in there that says, we can ban you for any and all reason, including no reason, with or without notice to you. There's also a line in their terms of service that says you have no rights to the digital property. And this is what prevents lawsuits, because most governments don't care about digital property that has no value. The problem with NFTs is that, number one, they're digital property. You're saying to the customer, you're saying to the player, you now own this. Well, governments really don't like it when you deny people access to their property with a tangible value for any and all reason, including no reason. So I don't think video game companies have really thought through what's going to happen when you try to ban somebody who happens to own a lot of NFTs. You're going to have to give them fair market value of all that, and that's going to be the company losing money if they can't find somebody else to buy it at a higher value. The other one is, I hear these companies say, well, we're going to set up our own NFT marketplace. You're talking about trading real world property. Most of the world governments, I can tell you most assuredly, the US government is going to want that company to collect names, social security numbers, because you're basically going to have to issue them a 1099 to say you made this much money through our NFT transaction board. Given how lax a lot of MMORPG servers are, their backgrounds are, how many hacks there are, how much compromised data there is, are you really going to feel comfortable giving a video game company your social security number for tax or your tax ID number for tax purposes? Also, do these video game companies know what they're getting into, or are they just going with the flow and hoping that it all works out at the end? So for my person that put the question out here, TitanReach becomes the newest Kickstarter scam. Honestly, when are people going to learn we have a voice with our dollar? Stop supporting these projects. I 100% agree with you. We need to stop supporting scam projects. As far as Titanfall and Pantheon, they did fail their Kickstarters, so some people did vote with their wallet, but I absolutely agree. I think it's time to pause, slow down, really think about how NFTs and crypto and Kickstarter is kind of taking the responsibility off of the developer and putting on the gamer. And if 50% of small businesses fail, you're more than likely going to lose your money and never see the deliverable on your Kickstarter MMO. I'm Jahlon. I'm on Twitch 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. If you disagree with something I said, join me on my next show and let's talk about it.
I say, Sprocket, we've reached the end of another video. Time to thank the sponsors. Yes, that will do, that will do. Shall we pop off for a spot of tea?